I do? She wanted anything that she could to save this marriage because, this was somebody that she thought that she truly, truly, no, well, truly did love him, but she thought that it was her soulmate. And what her mom was saying is that it wasn't.
Wow. What about like, does it happen where someone comes to you, like they lost a child, they lost a mother, and they really want one person to come through, and yet, their third uncle or their best friend's father, like, is it just someone they really don't necessarily care about coming through comes through?
Yeah. That happens all the time. And, people get so pissed too, because, this is where like some people, they don't come open, right? They come and they plan their reading. So they're like, okay, I'm coming to see Matt Fraser and I want my mom to say this, and this, right? And then they'll come to me and the reading will happen and somebody will come through. For example, how many times, and I tell this all the time, David, people, I don't know why people don't want to listen to me when I tell them certain things. For example, I always tell people, especially during private readings, only have you there. Don't bring anybody else, please. Just let it be me and you. Well, I don't understand. I really need somebody to support me. I really need somebody. I'm like, listen, because I can't determine what soul comes through. And they'll say, well, I'm the one paying for the reading. And I'm like, I understand that, but the spirit world doesn't know that, right? Or they don't care who's paying for the reading. So for example, I'll never forget, I actually wrote about this in my book. I had this woman and I went through the whole thing. My office knows beforehand to like, vet the callers and tell them, listen, you can only have you on the line. It was a phone reading. And this woman was like, oh yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be me. So I remember being on this call with her, and right away, what I thought was her husband coming through. He was telling me he was the husband and how he had died. And she goes, no, I didn't have, no, that wasn't, no, I didn't lose a husband. And I'm like, are you sure? He was telling me like how he had died and what happened to him and all of these things. And she's like, nope, 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 nope. And then he told me his name. And then all of a sudden, I heard like the phone go silent. And she's like, hold on 1 second. And then she came back on the line and she's like, all right, I didn't tell you this. She's like, but I have my friends on the other line, and that was her husband that had died. That was his name. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I told you not to have anybody. So anyways, long story short, she was so upset because her friend was the one who got the reading. I couldn't just tell the husband, okay, this isn't your session. Like, go back to heaven now. Like, you're done, right? I had to
Yeah.
deliver the message. She wouldn't leave me alone. So the reading turned into her friend's reading, and she was so pissed off. She actually had to go and schedule another reading for herself. But I'm like, I warned you. I told you this is what was going to happen.
You're like, this is what happens. And I saw on Kelly Clarkson, you had a woman's like ex-lover or ex-boyfriend come through or something to that effect.
There's always something like that going on. I mean, to be honest with you, the thing is that sometimes people come and there's someone that they don't want to hear from, and that's the person who ends up coming through.
When did you first realize? I mean, you probably told me last time you were here, but it was so long ago. When did you first realize you had this gift?
Well, so I always grew up seeing and hearing The Departed, but what's crazy is that I never knew that I was a medium. Growing up, I thought I was seeing ghosts. I didn't know that I was channeling spirits. I literally thought that the house was haunted. That's the only way I can describe it. Is I remember going to school and telling my friends like my house is haunted. We have a ghost in our house. I remember telling my parents like I wanted to move. I would scream and cry every night because the souls would be there in the house. I didn't know it had to do with me. I thought it was the house. I thought the house was the problem.
Weren't you scared?
I was petrified. What do you mean? Was I scared? I would cry every single night. I remember that there were times when, it didn't just happen at nighttime, by the way. Anytime I was alone or I was by myself and spirit had the opportunity to come through and speak to me, they would. So anytime I realize now, looking back, right, that anytime somebody died in the nearby area, I was like the 24-hour hotline, right? They'd come to my room, or they'd come into the house and try to talk to me. But being so young, I didn't know what was happening. Like I said, I didn't realize these were souls. I thought that they were just ghosts. People, I thought I was experiencing a haunting. I didn't realize that these were people's loved ones trying to come through and deliver a message.
So when did you kind of figure that out, and when did you decide to make this your career?
So I didn't figure out for a long time. My mom always told me that, my grandmother was a medium and that she was, and she told me that we were all very super sensitive to spirits, but she didn't really get too much into it. She would try to talk to me and try to get me to talk about my experiences and identify some of the souls that were coming through, but I was just way too scared, David. So what I did was for years, I pushed this away. I didn't talk about it. I just tried to live a normal life. I did everything that I could to make the voices stop. And then, growing up, I always was just really sensitive to people. I always had a good intuition. I always felt really connected with people. And it's funny because growing up, I always felt the need to help others. So I actually started my career as an EMT, working for the World Trade Center in Boston. And then from there, I went to go and see a medium for the first time myself because I wanted to see somebody who was actually using this gift, since all my family did was run away from it or keep it a secret. And that's exactly what I was doing too. So I saw a medium for the first time and it changed my life because it was the first time that I realized, oh my God, I can do this. I can help people to heal just in a different way. And I made a choice at that moment. And my choice was this. It was that I wasn't going to keep this a secret anymore. I was going to talk about this. If I felt something, I was going to say something, and I wasn't going to keep it hidden. And when I made that decision, it changed my life because, you know, this ability that, excuse me, this job and this work found me because of my ability. I didn't go chasing the work. I already had an amazing job, you know, and I never expected to be here with you or to be on TV or to be where I am now, because at first it started out as a hobby.
Because of what you do, like what you kind of mentioned this quickly before, but like, what is your relationship to death? Like, do you fear death like the rest of us? I mean, knowing what you know, seeing spirit, like, what is your own relationship to death? I'm always so
So I fear
curious.
illness, but I do not fear death. So obviously, the tough part is that here in this world, obviously, just like everybody else, we all can succumb to illness. That's what scares me. But it does not scare me about death and dying, because I know that there is another side. And I wouldn't be able to do this work if I didn't know that. So without a doubt, every day I feel good because I feel my loved ones guiding me. I feel my loved ones there and with me. I know that we have angels and spirit guides and this team of people that are helping us. And therefore, I also know that they can see tomorrow so much more clearly than we can see even yesterday. So I don't get stressed out because I know that they're there guiding us and leading us. And that's the one thing that I want to share with other people. Like, I'm hoping that my readings help people to understand that, because life is challenging and hard and difficult. And it's not easy. Nobody has it easy. We all have different struggles. Some people have financial struggles. Some people have health struggles. Some people have love struggles. You name it. The struggles are out there, right? The struggle is real, I should say. But the thing is that knowing that you're not alone and knowing that there's a bigger picture helps you to understand it and to, really understand that we're only put here for a short time. It's a classroom. It's here where we learn our lessons. And one day we do pass on and we don't die. It's just a change in worlds.
And then does that extend to like Alexa, to your mother? Like, just because they have access to you, like, do they understand, like, okay, we don't fear death? Or is it different because they're not, I mean, you can be married to you, but you're not you. So it's not the same visions.
Well, Alexa is actually funny how we kind of came to be, because Alexa always feared death. She'd fear death. She feared death. You could not even mention the word death